A good and blessed day to all, especially to our mathematics learners. Welcome to another episode of our math tutorial sessions. In this video, you will be learning how to divide decimals. We have two subtopics. The first one is dividing decimals by whole numbers. The second one is dividing decimals by decimals or other decimals. Again po, at your service, this is Jerome Abrigana. Enjoy watching! Here we are, guys. This is my presentation. This presentation will help you with acquiring skills in solving math problems involving division of decimals. I have divided this into 4 parts. We will begin with the first part, which is the review on the steps in division of whole numbers. Then the second part is a presentation of a problem that will help us in getting the concept on how to divide decimal number by a whole number. And problem number 2 on dividing decimal by another decimal. And lastly, I will give you the steps in dividing decimals. So we will have the review first. So let's have to be reminded of the steps in dividing. The first step is divide. Let's take for example, 1,722 divided by 21. So some of the common concepts when we are dividing, this one inside is called the dividend, and then this one outside the house is called the divisor. And the numbers that we are going to write or place on top of the dividend is the quotient or the answer of division. So here, let us divide. So 1,722 divided by 21, we will take the first 3 digits, 1, 7, and 2, or 172 divided by 21 equals 8. Then the next step is multiply. What are we going to multiply? It's 8 times 21. How much is 8 times 21? The answer is 168. Then the next step is subtract. So you see here, we subtract 172 minus 168, that is equal to 4. Then we have 1 digit left, that is 2. So the next step is bring down one more number. So bring down 2, that becomes 42. So 42 divided by 21 equals 2, and 2 times 21 equals 42. Then go back to subtraction. 42 minus 42 equals 0. So therefore, we got quotient that is 82. Okay. Then let's have dividing decimals. We will have the first problem as promised. So this is all about dividing decimal by a whole number. Sample problem. Mr. Bayani divided his 5.28 hectares of land among his 4 sons. How many hectares did each receive? Before we are going to answer the problem, of course, we need to analyze. We will use the Polya's 4 steps in solving math problems. The first step is understand. In understanding the problem, we are going to determine what are given and what is asked. So, what are the given? We have 58. Okay, so 58 hectares and 4 sons. What is asked in the problem? So the problem asks how many hectares or hectares of land each son received. And step 2 is plan. In planning, we have 2 basic questions that we need to answer. What operation are we going to use? Then what is the number sentence? So what operation? We will use division. Then write down the number sentence, that is 5 and 28 hundredths divided by 4 equals n. So now let us solve the number sentence. We have 5 and 2800 divided by 4 equals n. So in dividing, we will simply use the long division technique. So let's have our dividend, that is 5 and 2800 divided by 4. So 4, we call it as our divisor. So in dividing decimal by a whole number, we simply apply what we have learned in dividing whole numbers. But the important key here is do not forget to place a decimal point directly above the decimal point of our dividend. So it's here. Divide 5 divided by 4, that is 1. And 1 times 4 is 4. So 5 minus 4 equals 1. And bring down 2. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. 3 times 4 equals 12. And subtract. 12 minus 12 equals 0. Bring down 8 because we also have another number. So 8 divided by 4 equals 2. 2 times 4 equals 8. And 8 minus 8 equals 0. So we'll just end up to here. So our quotient here is 1 and 32 hundredths. So guys, we will now check if our answers are correct. So by checking, we'll use the opposite operation of division. So therefore, we will check if our quotient, that is 1 and 32 hundredths times our divisor of 4, is it equal to 5.28? Okay, let us check. Let us solve. 1 and 32 hundredths times 4. 2 times 4 equals 8. Just follow. It is 12. Bring down 2, carry 1. 1 times 4. 4 plus 1 equals 5. How many decimal places do we have in our factors? 1, 2. So it's here. So the answer is 5 and 28 hundredths. Therefore, 5 and 28 hundredths is equal to 5 and 28 hundredths. So therefore, our answer is correct. And now let's have problem number 2, which is all about dividing decimal by a decimal. Our sample problem. Andres needed pieces of sticks for his project. If he had a long stick that measured 381.25 centimeters, how many 5.25 centimeter sticks could he cut from it? So we'll use again the 4 steps in solving problem by George Polia. Step 1, understand the given are 381.25 centimeters and 15.25 centimeters. The problem also asks about the number of sticks Andres could cut from the long stick. Then our step 2, that is plan. What operation? Division. What is the number sentence then? It's 381.25 divided by 15.25 equals n. And the next step, of course, is we are going to solve. So here guys, let's move on to step 3, which is solve. So we need to solve our number sentence. This is of course out from the problem. That is 381 and 25 hundredths divided by 15 and 25 hundredths equals n. So by the way, I'm using now my permanent marker because we ran out of ink in our whiteboard marker. So therefore, I'm sad. Anyway, let's continue. So in dividing this one, we'll use still the long division. This 381. This is our dividend, right? And 25 hundredths divided by 15 and 25 hundredths. So look at here. Both our dividend and our divisor are decimal numbers. So before we'll proceed to division of these numbers, we need to change our divisor into a whole number. How? Let's just move the decimal point all the way to the right. So how many places? Here, 1, 2. That becomes 1,525, which is already a whole number. In the same manner, let's move the same number we move from our divisor. So the same number of times. You have here 1, 2, so twice. Let's also move here twice to the right. 1, 2. So that becomes 38,125. Both of them are already whole numbers now. So we'll proceed to division. So let's have first 4 digits, I think. Let's try. 3,812 divided by 1,525. Let's try 2. So 2 times here, 1,525. So let us solve. 1,525 times 2. 5 times 2 equals 10. 2 times 2 equals 4 plus 1 equals 5. And 5 times 2 equals 10. 1 times 2 equals 2 times 1 equals 3. So we have 3,050. Let's subtract. 2 minus 0 equals 2. 1 minus 5 cannot be borrowed from 8. That is 11. This is 7. 11 minus 5 equals 6. Then 7 minus 0 equals 7. 3 minus 3, that is 0. Bring down 5. Of course, a line. 7,625 divided by 1,525. Both ends with 5. Both end with 5. So let's try 5. So 5, 1,525 times 5, 25. 2 times 5 equals 10, plus 2, 12. 5 times 5, 25, plus 1 equals 26. And then 1 times 5 equals 5, plus 2 equals 7. There we have it, guys. The same. We are correct. And our guess, that is 5. So 7,625 minus 7,625, that is 0. So our answer is 25. So therefore, n equals 25. So to verify if our answer is correct, let us move to step 4, which is check. So let us just check if our answer a while ago, which is 25, is correct. So when we divide again 381 and 25 hundredths divided by 15 and 25 hundredths, is it equal to 25? So how? Just multiply. So 15 and 25 hundredths times 25. So we will multiply 5 times 5, that is 25. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 equals 12. 5 times 5, 25 plus 1 equals 26. 32. 1 times 5 equals 5 plus 2 equals 7. Then let's have 2. 5 times 2 equals 10. 2 times 2 equals 4 plus 1 equals 5. 5 times 2 equals 10. 1. 1 times 2 equals 2 plus 1 equals 3. Then let's add. 5 plus 0 equals 5. 2 plus 0 equals 2. 6 plus 5 equals 11. 1 plus 7 equals 8. And 0 plus 3 equals 3, of course. Then let's count the number of decimal places we have in the factors. So we only have 1, 2. So therefore, let's move 2 decimal places to the left. 1, 2. So the answer is 381 and 25 hundredths, which is equal to, of course, 381 and 25 hundredths. So therefore, our answer, which is 25, is correct. And finally, we are now on the last part of our presentation, which I will be giving you the step-by-step procedure in dividing decimals. But before I proceed, let me greet my co-teachers and co-school administrators, and most especially to our beloved PSDS. Oh, thank you guys. And here are the steps in dividing decimals. Remember, dividing decimals is similar to dividing whole numbers, except you have to handle the decimal point before you start dividing. So here are the steps. First, move the decimal point in divisor and in the dividend. Our goal here is stated here in step 2. Turn the divisor into a whole number by moving the decimal point all the way to the right. Take note of the number of places we move our decimal point in the divisor all the way to the right, because at the same time we are going to move the decimal point in the dividend the same number of places to the right. Then number 3, place a decimal point in the quotient directly above where the decimal point now appears in the dividend. In step 4, divide as usual, being careful to line up the quotient properly so that the decimal point falls into place. And then lastly, line up each digit in the quotient just over the last digit in the dividend used in that cycle. So here, I hope you are learning, guys. Thank you very much and see you on our next episode. God bless us all.